two back-to-back moves for the Dolphins. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the Devante Parker trade, where the Dolphins trade wide receiver Devante Parker and a 2022 fifth round pick to the New England Patriots in exchange for a third round pick in 2023. First things first. First things first, right? The Dolphins, they made this trade because at this point they were just trying to get rid of Devontae Parker. They added a fifth round pick into it. They got a third. Like you just did the trade with the it's not the trade. Yeah, the trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, where you end up receiving Tyreek Hill. Cedric Wilson got him in via free agency. We spoke about him before early on in free agency, where honestly, I don't I'm 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 optimistic about the acquisition, but considering the fact that he was a fourth string receiver, that is a little bit concerning to me. Obviously, you have Jaylen Waddle, who was very, very productive last year. But for some reason, like I feel like offenses with short receivers, they just don't sit well. It just doesn't sit well with me for some reason. It just doesn't. And I'm thinking, okay, so you have who's going to be our boundary guys? You got Tyreek, and you got Cedric Wilson. I'm still going to make a case for Preston Williams. I feel like Preston Williams, once he gets on track, he could be a legit number one guy. He could be a legit number one guy. So, as a Dolphins fan, do we mourn? Do we mourn Devontae Parker? Because I'm not. I'm surprised he's lasted this long with the Dolphins. One of the biggest, like I wasn't even expecting the Dolphins to draft him in 2016. I was pounding the table for Kevin White, but thank goodness we didn't end up going that route. But Devontae Parker only had one 1,000-yard season, and that's what he ended up playing all 16 games. That was the 2019 season. That was the tank season. That was the miserable season. Like what I'm talking about, well, legitimately, it was extremely difficult for me to watch a Miami Dolphins game because the Dolphins were just going out there, mm, just the tank for two posters was just, oh my goodness gracious. But yeah, out of all the seasons, that was his best year. 72 receptions, 1,202 yards, 9 touchdowns. Ryan Fitzpatrick and a little bit of Josh Rosen was his quarterback. Now, do I want to blame the quarterbacks that have been in Miami Dolphins uniform since Devontae Parker's been here for the lack of his production? You could put a little bit on that. You could, but still durability is going to be an issue with Devontae Parker. It's always going to be an issue with Devontae Parker. Whether it be a hamstring, an ankle, like it's just durability. But when he's on the field and you have an elite quarterback throwing him the football, he can do his thing. He can definitely do his thing. Now, looking at the flip side, at the New England Patriots, like, well, you just been extremely underwhelming when it comes to adding a receiver. Like what is the issue? You have Julio Jones still sitting in there free agency. You have Antonio Brown, which nobody really wants Antonio Brown. I know Antonio Brown has already played for the New England Patriots. You have Odell Beckham, which is recovering from an ACL tear. Your last resort was Devante Parker? Jarvis Landry even out there. Now I'm like Jarvis Landry. Like, why didn't you go out to Jarvis Landry? I felt like that would have been perfect. Like your current receiver depth right now is N'Keal Harry, which at some point I expect him to be released. Nelson Aguilar, which I'm not a fan of. Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne were your two biggest contributors. In the tight end position, I was expecting them to go back and run that old school 22 personnel like they did back with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, but injuries plague the tight end position. Jonnu Smith can't catch anything. I was expecting him to go in there and do damage. But by you adding to Devante Parker now, I'm speaking to the New England Patriots fans. Well, I'm pretty sure they already know because they got to face us 2 times a year. So they know Devante Parker firsthand what he's able to do against little defensive backs. He's gonna come in there and do his thing. He definitely gonna come in there and do his thing. But again, durability is going to be an issue.
Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. We don't care what you said. Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. We ain't hearing what you said. Nah, for the bay. Fire!